For 300 standard cycles, Earth said nothing. No declarations of arrival. No holy manifestos. No fleets burning bright across the void to announce a new power. When humanity cracked faster than light travel, the galaxy barely noticed, because humans didn't behave the way young species were supposed to. They didn't rush outward. They didn't claim systems or rename stars after dead leaders. They sent probes. Observers. Listening arrays hidden in dust clouds and behind dead moons. Then they stopped. The Galactic Council noticed the silence and mistook it for fear. The council chamber on Virex Prime was an architectural insult to humility. A sphere of black crystal suspended over a gravity-null abyss, where 72 species gathered to decide the fate of worlds they would never walk upon. The air shimmered with translators, pheromones, and political lies. Earth appeared on the agenda as a footnote. Peripheral World 9 Theta. Indigenous species, human. Technological status, early interstellar. Behavior, passive. Counselor Zeldar of the Core Dominion flexed his talons impatiently. His species had ruled star systems before humans had discovered agriculture. "This is becoming absurd," he growled. "Their industrial output has tripled in a single cycle. They extract resources without tribute. They expand without authorization." A gelatinous counselor pulsed with amusement. "They've barely replied to first contact pings. Perhaps they don't understand protocol." That drew laughter, clicking mandibles, harmonic chimes, hissing breaths. Zeldar's eyes narrowed. "No. They understand. They're hoping we'll ignore them." Another counselor leaned forward, feathers rustling. "Then remind them of their place. A compliance action. Limited force." The words were clinical. Clean. Polite. The vote passed in 47 seconds. No one noticed the object orbiting high above the chamber, smaller than debris, colder than space, recording every word. 3 days later, the compliance fleet arrived at Sol. 26 warships unfolded from hyperspace in perfect formation, their hulls etched with council sigils that had broken civilizations. They positioned themselves with calculated menace over Earth's major population centers: New York, Shanghai, Mumbai, Moscow. Admiral Crack stood on the bridge of the flagship Glorious Mandate, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. "Transmit the decree," he ordered. The message was simple, translated into every human language simultaneously. By authority of the Galactic Council, this world is placed under provisional governance. All orbital defenses are to be dismantled. Planetary assets will be assessed. Resistance will be met with corrective force. Earth did not respond. Krax waited. Nothing. His navigations officer shifted uneasily. "Sir, no counter signals. No military movement." Krax snorted. "As expected. They are stunned." Still, protocol demanded escalation. "Fire a warning strike," Krax said. "Uninhabited region. Minimal yield. A single ship angled downward. Energy built along its spinal cannon, bright enough to cast Earth's clouds in ghostly blue. The shot struck the Pacific Ocean with surgical precision. Water vaporized instantly. A column of steam and plasma punched into the sky. Seismic tremors rippled outward, rattling coastlines across half the planet. The message was clear: we can do worse. Still, no response. A few council captains exchanged uneasy glances. "Strange," one muttered. "No panic broadcasts. No evacuation signatures. Perhaps they are primitive," another said. "They may not grasp." A signal cut across the fleet. Not a military channel. Not encrypted. A civilian frequency. Static crackled, then resolved into a human voice, male, old, calm in a way that made the bridge temperature feel colder. "You've made a mistake." Krax straightened. "Identify yourself." The voice sighed softly, as if disappointed. "Name's Eli Turner. Retired. Former soldier. Former engineer. Former problem." Krax clicked in amusement. "You represent your planetary government?" "No," Eli replied. I represent consequences. The transmission ended. Before Krax could order a response, his tactical display flickered. Then half the icons vanished. Report! Krax snapped. Sensor degradation across multiple ships, an officer said, panic creeping in. Navigation arrays they're desynchronizing. Another voice cut in. Sir, internal comms are lagging. External relays gone. Krax slammed a claw into his console. This is interference. Trace it. We can't, the technician whispered. It's coming from everywhere. Space around the fleet rippled, as if the void itself had inhaled. Far below, Earth's oceans began to move. Not with waves, with intent. Deep beneath the Pacific, structures long mistaken for tectonic anomalies slid free of the seabed. Gigantic frames unfolded, shedding centuries of mineral camouflage. Power surged through systems older than any council species had known. On land, mountains shifted, not violently, but deliberately. Ranges cracked open to reveal colossal rails aligned skyward. Cities went dark for exactly 3 seconds, then relit, reconfigured. Hospitals, schools, transit hubs. All of them hiding something. On the glorious mandate, a junior officer screamed. Sir! Gravitational spike detected! Port flank! Before Krax could react, one of his escort cruisers collapsed inward. Not exploded. Crushed. Its hull folded as though reality itself had clenched a fist around it. No debris. No survivors. Just absence. Then another ship vanished. And another. The fleet formation broke as panic finally clawed its way past discipline. What weapon is this? Krax roared. A whisper answered him, not over comms, but through every speaker simultaneously. Human voices. Hundreds of them. Different accents. Different ages. Counting. 5. 4. Krax felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. Above Earth, something rose from the darkness of orbit, small, asymmetrical, utterly unimpressive by council standards. A human ship. It did not hail them. It simply waited. And for the first time since humanity had discovered the stars, Earth was no longer silent. It was awake. The first thing Admiral Krax understood was that the galaxy had lied to him. Not through malice. Through assumption. His flagship shuddered as space-time screamed. Not an alarm, a sound, deep and wrong, vibrating through chitin and bone. The human ship ahead of them hadn't fired at any vessel. It hadn't targeted shields or engines. It had touched the laws of physics and pulled. A council destroyer was dragged sideways, its mass elongated, its structure stretched into incandescent threads. Crew compartments opened into nothing. The ship did not explode. It was erased, smeared across a gravity well that should not have existed. Krax's mandibles locked in horror. Countermeasures! He screamed. None came. The fleet's targeting systems showed ghosts, false returns, looping signals, entire ships appearing where they could not be. Navigation vectors spun uselessly. The humans weren't jamming them. They were rewriting the environment. Then the human ship finally opened a channel. The old voice returned, steady as bedrock. You see, Admiral, Earth stayed quiet because we were tired. Krax snarled, forcing authority back into his tone. Tired species don't build weapons like this. Eli Turner chuckled. That's because you think weapons are built when wars start. Humans build them when wars end, and we promise never to lose again. Another ship vanished, collapsed inward like a crushed insect. A weapons officer screamed. Sir! Planetary mass signatures are spiking. Earth's gravity field is fluctuating. Krax's eyes widened as his sensors finally painted a clear picture. Earth was not defending itself. Earth was the weapon. The oceans were laced with structures, vast cannon frames anchored to the mantle, drawing power from geothermal fury and artificial cores. They fired not beams, but constants, gravity shear, space-time torsion, relativistic projectiles accelerated to fractions of light speed. On land, entire mountain ranges aligned like artillery. Rails longer than cities fired tungsten spears wrapped in quantum fields. They punched through council shields as if those shields had never existed. Krax howled. All ships retreat! Emergency jump! No jump possible! Someone screamed. Hyperspace lanes are folding! Eli's voice returned, almost gentle. We learned something watching you, Admiral. Empires don't fear guns. They fear being trapped. The whispering voices returned, humans, now laughing softly. 3, 2. A human vessel split open, not damaged, but unfolding. Boarding pods launched in silence, black shapes streaking toward council halls. Boarding craft! Krax barked. Prepare. The first pod punched through the glorious Mandate's armor like it was foil. Humans poured out. They wore no uniform. Their armor was mismatched, scarred, customized. Some carried kinetic rifles firing heavy slugs that tore through chitin and bone. Others wielded flamethrowers, shotguns, blades. No energy weapons. No elegance. Just close, personal murder. Council Marines broke within minutes. They were trained for ritualized combat, for lines and formations. The humans fought like predators loose in a cage, moving fast, using walls, ceilings, smoke, fear. A human slammed Krax's guard into a bulkhead, crushed his skull with a boot, and kept moving. Krax retreated to the command dais, mandibles slick with fierce sweat. This is barbarism! He screamed into the open channel. You claim civilization yet fight like animals. Eli answered calmly. We are animals, Admiral. Apex ones. Civilization is just the leash we wear when no one threatens our young. The glorious Mandate shuddered again, not from impact, but from betrayal. A data console flared to life, flooding Krax's vision with files, human military archives, force structures, deployment webs. He froze. There were no fleets. No armadas in waiting. Instead, names, symbols, contracts, mercenary clans, pirate confederations, smuggler kings, rogue AIs. Entire species labeled extinct by council decree. All active. All allied. Earth had not spent 300 cycles building ships. They had spent them making friends with everyone the council had crushed. The galaxy's underbelly had a single sponsor. And it was human. Krax whispered, voice breaking. You hid behind criminals. Eli laughed, soft, genuinely amused. No. We gave them purpose. And a common enemy. Outside the viewport, new ships dropped from hyperspace, ugly, mismatched, flying no known flags. They swarmed the crippled council fleet like vultures. A final message pulsed through every surviving channel, broadcast galaxy-wide. To all systems under council authority. Earth has chosen to respond. Krax sank to his knees as alarms died one by one. He finally understood the mistake. The council hadn't awakened a rival. They had awakened a reckoning. And Earth was just getting started. Panic spread faster than light. That alone should have terrified the Galactic Council. Across the spiral arm, Council-controlled systems began to fracture, not from invasion fleets, but from absence. Supply convoys failed to arrive. Defense grids went dark. Communication relays whispered nonsense, then fell silent entirely. Governors screamed into dead channels, demanding explanations that would never come. Humanity did not strike everywhere. They struck selectively. Trade hubs first. Data nexuses. Shipyards that had once built the instruments of compliance. Every target was chosen with surgical cruelty. The goal was not conquest. It was suffocation. On Virex Prime, the council chamber filled with chaos. Representatives shouted over one another, translators lagging under emotional overload. This is an extinction-level war! Shrieked the crystalline XYR delegate. We must negotiate! Pulsed the gelatinous Vul. Negotiate? With humans? A species that had said nothing for 3 centuries and now spoke only in devastation. An emergency channel cut through the noise. A human symbol appeared in the air, simple, ancient, unmistakable. The chamber fell silent. Eli Turner stood projected at the center of the abyss. He looked exactly like what he was, old, scarred, and tired of repeating history. His clothes were plain. His eyes were not. "You should listen carefully," Eli said, voice carrying without effort. "Because this is the only time we're going to explain ourselves." Counselor Zeldar stepped forward, talons trembling, not with rage now, but with fear. "You cannot do this. The Council maintains order. We prevent chaos." Eli tilted his head. "No. You manage chaos. You decide who bleeds quietly enough not to disturb trade." A wave of data flooded the chamber. Holograms of worlds burned, species catalogued as non-compliant, casualty figures hidden behind euphemisms like population correction. Council members recoiled. "These records were sealed," someone screamed. Eli nodded. "You sealed them. We opened them. Humans have a bad habit of reading the fine print." Zeldar snarled, desperation cracking his voice. "What do you want? Tribute? Territory? A seat among us?" Eli smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We want something very simple," he said. "Reform. Or extinction." Murmurs erupted. "You cannot threaten the Council," a delegate shouted. "The galaxy will burn." Eli's expression hardened. "It already has. You just never smelled the smoke because it wasn't your world." At that moment, alarms shrieked through the chamber. Defense monitors flared to life, showing live feeds from Council core systems. Shipyards burning. Vaults breached. Prison moons opened. Species long thought erased emerged into the stars again, armed with human weapons and something far deadlier. Hope. The Council voted in panic. Emergency concessions. Immediate ceasefires. Full withdrawal from Earth's territory. Recognition of human sovereignty. Reparations. Unanimous. Too late. Human strikes did not stop. They shifted. Council fleets weren't destroyed anymore. They were disarmed. Boarded. Stripped. Left drifting, alive, humiliated, broadcasting their own defeat. Every transmission carried the same message, stamped with a human seal. Remember this. On a conquered world, a council governor awoke to find human soldiers sitting in his palace, boots on priceless artifacts. One of them raised a glass. "You bound us first," the human said casually. "We took that personally." Elsewhere, a council species transmitted a plea, tears, surrender signals, promises of loyalty. The human response was broadcast unedited across the galaxy. "We don't accept apologies from organizations that vote on genocide." The council chamber emptied as representatives fled to their home systems, hoping distance might protect them. It didn't. Eli Turner returned one last time. "This isn't about revenge," he said, standing where Earth's fate had once been a footnote. "It's about removing the idea that someone gets to decide who deserves to exist." He turned away. "Govern yourselves, or we will make sure you never govern anyone again." The Galactic Council collapsed within the cycle. Not conquered. Exposed. And when the last Council seal was stripped from the stars, Earth went quiet once more. The galaxy learned the most terrifying truth of all. Humanity had never wanted to rule. They had only wanted the power to say no. And mean it. The galaxy did not recover. It relearned. Trade lanes reopened slowly, carefully, as if space itself might remember what had been done and strike back. Empires shrank into defensive knots. Old banners were lowered, replaced by symbols that spoke less of dominance and more of survival. A new assembly formed on neutral ground, smaller, humbler, terrified of repeating the past. They called it the Galactic Concord, though no one truly believed in the name yet. Every founding charter carried an unspoken clause. Do not provoke Earth. Earth held no permanent seat. That, more than anything, frightened them. Humanity did not patrol the stars. They did not tax systems or enforce doctrine. They dismantled their visible weapons, let spies photograph the decommissioning, allowed the galaxy to believe the storm had passed. It hadn't. It had merely gone underground again. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, the guns slept. Not powered down, waiting. Mountains resealed. Cities resumed their old shapes. Schools went back to teaching children how to dream instead of how to die. But the codes remained. The alliances endured. The ghosts of broken empires remembered. Years later, on a quiet trade station at the edge of former council space, an alien diplomat shared a drink with an old human. "You could have ruled everything," the diplomat said carefully. "No force could have stopped you." Eli Turner stared into his glass for a long moment. "Ruling's loud work," he finally said. "And it attracts fools who want to be kings." He looked up, eyes sharp despite his age. "We didn't fight for power. We fought for boundaries." The diplomat hesitated. "And if the Concord fails? If someone tries again?" Eli smiled, not kindly, not cruelly. Patiently. "Then we'll remind them." Far away, Earth's oceans shifted with slow, tidal certainty. Deep systems ran self-checks older than most civilizations. Somewhere beneath stone and sea, weapons that had never known defeat waited for a signal that would hopefully never come. Humanity returned to what it had always done best. Living. Arguing. Loving. Fighting among themselves about politics, sports, and whether the past should stay buried. But the galaxy remembered. They remembered the quiet planet. The polite species. The world that stayed silent while it learned how everyone else fought. And when the stars grew tense, when empires whispered about expansion and necessary corrections, someone would always say the same thing in the end. Leave Earth alone. Because Earth did not threaten. Earth did not boast. Earth only answered. And the universe had already learned what that answer sounded like.